Okay, just an introductory part. I have not created any basic overview what is actually the testing and further content. But let me know whether uh, testing part is very much mandatory in our software engineering, and why we considered it as very much important. Now, I have not makes any proper content, basic content over for testing. I directly starting with the actual syllabus what we have in our syllabus given by the university. So testing is nothing but it is a mandatory content which we have to follow in our software development. Why? The software already had assured us with some content, basic concepts like we have verification, validation. So what we considered here, the testing is that is it is an evaluation of a software which may have an requirement gathered from the users and system specification. Again, testing is conducted at various levels. While we are developing some software at software development lifecycle, we called it in short as SDLC. So in that phase, we used to make a development, and while making this development, we have to follow some testing part. So some testing part is nothing but it is compromising in the validation and verification formation. In the previous lecture or in as 2 sessions we had concluded with our test, and simply I am not happy with the people, means with the students, that they had not even submitted the unit 1 and unit 2 also. Though you are having a time limit of only 3 hours, and still people had not submitted me the test. But let me know them that it is mandatory, and the marks whichever we have going to give in your term work, considered as a term work, it is considered in that. And right now I am not going to accept any other. If you are sending me right now the mail and all the content, I am not going to accept that. I am going to directly delete the content. Though you can say to your CCs as well, because already you had given 2 days. Those who have very much problems with them, I have considered their problems and also asked them to send me the same for the in the next 2 days. You can send that content, but still people students had not sent, and now I am not going to accept their PDF files or unit test acceptation. Okay, so similarly, the testing is also one of the part. If we are not going to do, then my product is not going to launch properly. So we had some testing comprises which we already seen our previous chapter, where architecture and design we had metrics, validation, verification, formation, where validation or we had not seen, but verification is followed by validation, I have told you. And also here what validation will do, validation will process for some examination. It is a process of examination whether or not the software satisfy the user requirement, and it is carried out at the end of the software development lifecycle. Yes, it is carried out after your development lifecycle has been completed. Means what my validation will ensure you that whether the product is under development or not, it is as per the requirement or not. And also will ask the question, validation will ask you the questions in, are we developing the product which attempts all the user needs or not. So this is my validation. And verification, what is, it is confirming if the software is meeting the business requirement or not, and if that development is in a proper condition or proper methodology, whether it is having some content or not. And also verification ensure whether I have developed the properly the product which is I have developed is correctly defined or not. Yes, the questions are different for validation and verification. Some targets are also set for this testing. So testing is nothing but we have to uh, uh, give our what we can say our 100% for making it sure that whether the contents are properly verified or not. Means suppose testing कुणावर करतात, तर टेस्टिंग केली कुणावर जाते, तर कसे की एरर काढले जातात, त्याच्यानंतर फॉल्ट काढले जातात, बग्स काढले जातात. फेल्युअर कशामुळे होतंय किंवा माझं जे काही कंटेंट जनरेट झालेलं आहे ते कशा थ्रू मला दिसणार आहे. तर याच्यासाठी माझं टेस्टिंग ऍक्च्युअली मी यूज करते माझ्या डेव्हलपमेंटमध्ये. तर सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट लाईफ सायकल मध्ये हे खूप इम्पॉर्टंट पार्ट आहे, बिकॉज इट इज अ फेज वेअर आय एम गोइंग टू डायरेक्टली इंटरॅक्ट विथ द कस्टमर और कन्झ्युमर. येस, सपोज तुम्ही प्रोजेक्ट केला आणि प्रोजेक्टचं शेवटी ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही सेमिनार देणार आहात, and at that time you are getting understand whether it is not running. So at last moment it is not possible, and it is very much shameful for you that we are not supposed to give our seminar over our external examiner. So that time you are not going to take that risk. For that purpose you are again making it sure before going to the seminar also, before going to present your seminar or project, so that particularly execution is happening or not, you are going to show them. So for that purpose we need testing a lot. Yes, and testing is I'm not saying that testing is more going to be developed at the last, but you can do it in a middle phase also, whether that code is generating, because in our content, in our field, in computer science field, the testing part is somewhat different from other fields like mechanical, other electronics, and because the testing is right now with their tools, but we have to do testing with the help of our टेस्टिंग टूल्स वी युजिंग. सो टेस्टिंग टूल्स कोणते कोणते आहेत, की टेस्टिंग टूल्स बरेच आहेत जे आपण युज करतो बग रेफार करण्यासाठी, बिकॉज त्याच्यासाठी एक वेगळी डेव्हलपमेंट फील्ड आहे. म्हणजे आपण टेस्टिंग वगैरे म्हणतो, सॉफ्टवेअर टेस्टर, टेस्टिंग साठी ऑपरेटर वगैरे किंवा डेटा ऑपरेटर्स वगैरे म्हणतो. तर हे डिफरंट फेज आहेत की तुम्ही जे टेस्टिंग करणार आहात त्याच्यासाठी. अँड टेस्टिंग इज ऑल्सो हॅव्हिंग सम various informations, again various properties you can see. बट या फेज मध्ये काय होतं की या टेस्टिंग टूल्स मध्ये आपण बग्स चेक करतो, where my bugs are not are present or not, whether I have removed them clearly or not, and also it will check whether your system is working properly with that software or not. So this testing tools we had in our software development or in our software production. तर सॉफ्टवेअर जेव्हा बनवतो तर आपले टेस्टिंग टूल्स वेगळे आहेत, बाकीचे जे फील्ड्स आहेत किंवा ते त्यांचे टेस्टिंग टूल्स वेगळे आहेत. मग या टेस्टिंग टूल्स मध्ये बरेच टेस्टिंग टूल्स कोणते टेस्टिंग करतात किंवा कोणते आहेत, तर तुम्हाला थोडेफार माहिती असतील. ब्लॅक बॉक्स टेस्टिंग, व्हाईट बॉक्स टेस्टिंग ऑलरेडी वी हॅड डिस्कस. Again, we use some testing part like functional testing we need to do. Again, unit testing, one by one we have to check. So all these parts we had with our testing tools. Okay, and also we used to define whether these testing tools are firmly defining our requirement or not. If we had that particular contents are very proper with us, then we can say that that testing tool had completed our development. Okay, so just here I have given an introductory part for you what software testing is. Just I have again recall you what is software testing. It is an evaluation of the software against the requirement gathered from user and system specification. And we had two phase. I have already bolded it, validation and verification. So what is validation? It is a process which examining whether your software is satisfied the user requirement, and it is a process of confirming. Verification is a process of confirming if the software meeting the business requirement or not. Yeah, so both these conditions are mandatory, and various differences are simple what and how. So whatever I have developed is proper or not, and what I have developed is meeting the requirement or not. These are the two conditions in our testing. Yeah, now we had in our content we had a next part as a testing fundamental. So just I have told you what is my testing fundamentals we had. So testing fundamentals काय डील करतं की त्याचे कंटेंट काय असते, म्हणजे माझे फंडामेंटल पार्ट्स काय आहेत की टेस्टिंग करताना मला काय बघायचे. तर बेसिक पार्ट्स करून आपल्याला टेस्टिंग करायचे. तर टेस्टिंग पहिले काय बघतं, तर फर्स्ट पार्ट इज एरर, फॉल्ट अँड फेल्युअर. नेक्स्ट इज टेस्ट ओरॅकल. then third one is test cases and test criteria, and last one is psychology of the testing. So these parts are different one. What we had just elaborating here, so testing fundamental काय आहे की तुमचं जे टेस्टिंग तुम्ही करता, whatever the testing you used to see, you used to have, तो या ह्याच्यात मी कोड जो आहे माझा, that code should have some requirement errors and design error. या may have, म्हणजे जो फायनल कोड तुमचा असेल तर त्याच्यात मे बी एरर्स असू शकतात किंवा डिझाईन एरर असू शकतात. मे बी जे तुम्ही केलेलं आहे त्याच्यात कोड ऍक्टिव्हिटी नॉट प्रॉपरली रोलिंग, तर हे सगळं मला बघायचं असेल तर त्यावेळेस मला काहीतरी डिटेक्ट करावं लागेल. तो टेस्टिंग इज नथिंग बट इट इज अन ऍक्टिव्हिटी वेअर द एरर remaining of all the previous phases, means the error in your previous phases must be detected. Yeah, and that detection means hence the testing will perform a very critical role for this. Means during this ensuring the quality, the testing is having a very critical role. And when I am testing the software, it is executed with a set of some codes, some cases. Yeah, and also I am checking whether that system is performing that expectations or not. Yeah, तो या टेस्टिंग फंडामेंटल मध्ये मला बेसिक रोल काय माझा, जस्ट फायनल कोड ज्यावेळेस likely to become, that time I'm going to do the testing over there, and I am going to check whether the properties means the coding activities are running properly or not. Yes, and if that is clearly tested with successful testing, I can say that the test cases are dependent is not error dependent, but they are error less dependent. So for that purpose, I have got some testing tools and testing fundamentals also. So what my error, fault and failure will do, what my error, fault and failure will do. So I have given error, fault and failure in short. What is error, what is fault, what is failure here. So when I'm saying error, so far we are using some meaning to the term of error. Yeah, what my errors will do, error will refer to the problems in requirement, design, code, and sometimes it will have an error, fault and failure are interchangeable, because directly I can't say that is error. It is mandatory error always. It may be a fault, it may be a failure also. So they are interchangeable, and these three are compatible with each other. So sometimes error will have some two different formation. Error will have in a two different formation. That is, suppose I'm saying that between the computed or observed or measured value, I have a true specified theoretical correct value. Yeah, I have measured, suppose जेव्हा मी 99.9% म्हणते, it is not 100%. Yeah, it is the accuracy, but I am just saying approximation 99.9. तर तिथं काय होतं, 100% मी ऍश्युरिटी देते, but while writing I am writing like 99.9. Yeah, so this is my somewhat a theoretical error. Yeah, I can say. Yeah, it is not fault, it is a theoretical concept, but error is also can be given as an actual or an ideal formation. Again, a human action is dependent on error. Karen, human action is responsible for some errors. Machine do the work of its own, but the input given by the to the machine, input given to the machine is given by a person. Yes, it is not taking directly inputs. So this is concept. Error can be made in a different ways, and it may be actually a theoretical correct values may be there, or sometime an error with the human action. Yeah, and also we can say that it is a quite general and very much essential measure in order to difference between your actual values and ideal values. So we considered it as an correct output should be given, means taken. So correct output येण्यासाठी मला पहिले accuracy थोडीफार change करावी लागेल. So these errors are a different one. Now second point is fault. Why? Fault is nothing but I can say that it is a condition where cause a system to fail in performing its required function. A fault is a basic reason for your software malfunction and is synonymous with the commonly used term bug. So I can say fault is nothing but I have a failing condition. Yes, a faulty कशावरून म्हणतो? Suppose its IC is burned, or suppose its RAM is not working properly. So that time I can say that it is a hardware problem and it is faulty. Means it is working with one time, and after 2 hours or after 3 hours it is not working. So I can say that it is a faulty formation. So it is not depend on with your but testing can perform that it is a faulty content we are using. Yeah, and failure is nothing but it is an inability of a system, or you can say it is inability of a system or a component to perform the required function according to its specification. Yeah, according to its specification. If it is getting a problem, then that time I can say a failure. A software failure occur if the behavior of the software from the specified behavior does not match. Suppose I can say failure can produce when there is a fault in the system. Yes, लक्षात घ्या, a failure can be produced when a fault is in the system. Suppose कधी कधी असं की सिस्टम हँग होते आणि बंद पडते. येस, माझं पण म्हणजे माझ्याकडे पण जी सिस्टम आहे ती पण कधी कधी हँग होते आणि डायरेक्टली ऑटोमॅटिकली बंद होते. सो दॅट टाइम आय कॅन से इट इज समवॉट फेल्युअर इन माय ओन सिस्टम. बट फेल्युअर बरोबर काय आहे, फॉल्टी पण आहे. या तो हे माझ्या टेस्टिंग मध्ये माझे फंडामेंटल्स आहेत की मला काय काय चेक करायचे. तो एरर्स काढायचे, फॉल्ट्स काढायचे, फेल्युअर्स काढायचे. सो ऑल दीज कंडिशन्स आर डिपेंडेंट, इंटरचेंजेबल, and sometimes they are referred to be the concepts, like they are having a more part coincidentally with them example. तो त्याच्यासाठी मी एक्झाम्पल देते. सपोज a line, a misplaced line in the output is a failure or not. You can say a misplaced line in the output a failure or not. तो मी अजून एक एक्झाम्पल देते की कधी कधी असं होतं की आपण प्रोजेक्ट करतो, रिपोर्ट लिहितो आणि बऱ्याच वेळा काय होतं की लिहिता लिहिता काहीतरी स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स होतात, कंटेंट मध्ये काहीतरी स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स होतात. आणि स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक मध्ये पण कधी कधी असू शकते की आपण मॅडमचे किंवा सरांचे नावांचे इनिशियल किंवा त्यांचे सरनेम चे स्पेलिंग थोडस चुकू शकतो. येस, सो दिस इज युअर नॉट वी कॅन से इट इज अ फेल्युअर, बट आय कॅन से इट इज अन फॉल्ट बिकॉज इट इज मेड बाय द पीपल. या अगेन फॉल्ट काय की त्या कंटेंट मध्ये फॉल्ट आता त्या रिप्लेस होणार बरं का. फॉल्ट कशात आहे ते फेल्युअर की ते प्रोजेक्ट किंवा कंटेंट मिसमॅच झालेले आहेत, मिसप्लेस झालेले आहेत आणि रॉंग प्रिंट झालेले आहेत माझ्याकडून. येस, तो समटाईम असंच म्हणजे आता हे एक्झाम्पल एक नॉर्मल एक्झाम्पल आहे. पण जर मी सांगितलं की आता प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजर कडून पण हे होऊ शकतं. प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजर कडनं एखादा कोड लाईन, एखादी लाईन कुठेतरी मिसप्लेस होते किंवा एखादी लाईन एक्स्ट्रा होते किंवा एखादा कोड जनरेट होताना बरोबर झालेलं आहे, सगळं रन होतं व्यवस्थित, बट समटाइम इट इज शोईंग, समटाइम इट इज नॉट शोईंग. सो व्हॉट इज द ऍक्च्युअल प्रॉब्लेम देअर? सो दिस इज ऑल कंटेंट्स आर रेफर्ड टू युअर एरर, फॉल्ट अँड फेल्युअर. दिस इज व्हॉट युअर फर्स्ट testing fundamental. Now the second one we had test oracle. What is test oracle then? So test oracle क्या है? It is a mechanism different from the program itself that can be used to check the correctness of the output of the program for the test cases. Test cases काय असतात की स्मॉल मी छोटे मॉड्यूल बनवते टेस्ट केस मध्ये आणि ते मॉड्यूल मी फक्त एका कम्प्लीट फॉर्मेशन इंटिग्रेटेड फॉर्म मध्ये पाठवते. मग कुठे पाठवते तर ही डायग्राम मी शो केलेली आहे. या डायग्राम मध्ये ऑलरेडी इट इज शोन दॅट सॉफ्टवेअर अंडर टेस्टिंग, जे टेस्ट केसेस आहेत सॉफ्टवेअर अंडर टेस्टिंग अँड टेस्ट ओरॅकल. तर it is both will do the same process, both will do the same, means checking us करणार whether it is correcting, providing the output with the proper content. or not. And I'm using here comparator, which will have both these, whatever the output going to be shown, whatever the output from the software under testing and whatever the output from the test oracle, I'm going to get, I'm getting, combining it, is comparating it, comparing it, whether they are producing the correct or not, and I'm lasting formation, means giving the result of testing. Yes. So what my test oracle will have, my test oracle will say that it is a proper testing, because test oracle will never ever ask you whether that software under testing provided a very low quality testing information or low quality of result we are getting. So both these are having a simultaneously working, both are doing the simultaneous. Test oracle is also one of the fundamental of your testing tool. Yes, already I have given here the test oracle is a mechanism where it is self can be checked to check the correctness, can be used to check the correctness. Only alone can be checked, but with the help of software under testing, I can I can use this formation. Again, when I'm saying test oracle, simultaneously it is very necessary for testing. Yeah, and suppose we would like to an automated oracle जर मला use करायचं असेल, which will give always the correct answer. So that time I can say that oracles are human beings. Often means oracles are a human being who can make mistakes, and so that as a result, where is it? There is a dispensary between your result of the program and the oracle. Yes, software testing is made with the help of softwares. And while I'm saying a test oracle, it is an action. It is an action used by human beings. So there can be a changing in the result. Means whatever the results I'm getting, it may get changed. And we have to verify the results produced by the oracle. We have to verify the results which were produced by the oracle before declaring that there is a fault in the program. Yes, whenever I am using this oracle, that time I need to verify the result by the oracle, and so that before declaring that there is a fault, we have to check, we have to wait, because the human oracles generally use the specification. For your means understanding, I'm just giving an example again more. Human oracle is getting means using some specification of the program, which will decide whether the contents are correct or not, or where their behaviors are correct or not. For such part, for such specification, they may contain, they may means maybe they may contain errors, they may contain some ambiguities, but still in order to make it shortcome, means in order to make it a proper result, I'm using major cause situations we are using. Sometimes party we are claiming, again conditions we are having, but we are not having that much accuracy whether they are giving us a proper result or not. So for that purpose, the testing will specify whether the given tested part is proper or not. Yeah, and also if there are some systems which where oracles are automatically, there are some systems where we can say that oracles are having automatically generated form, and so in order to check your programs or models, whatever you are given in the test cases, if you are giving a program, it will check the program. If you are giving the module, it will check the module. And with this, with such oracles, we can assure that the output of the oracle will have a consistency. If you are using the oracles with a proper automation formation, means me automatic generated oracles are used करत असेल, that time I can say a consistent output or a specification I can get. But if I'm so using some other types of oracle, that time I have an assurity that whether the contents which I have received should solve all the problems of mine, and there should be a possibility of the errors in the specifications also. And for that purpose, I am using the automation generated test oracles. And for that purpose, I have given here example for the test oracle, because both are going to test each other, and after that they are making a surety of my result. Yeah. So this is my test oracle. The third part of what we can say of my testing fundamental, that is test cases and test criteria. On which basis the test cases are made, on which basis the criteria is going to be handled. तो criteria इथं काय की बरेचसे criteria आपण ठेवतो, म्हणजे criteria 1 2 3 मी जो त्या criteria मध्ये फिट होतो तो त्या टेस्ट केसेसला तो criteria लागू होतो. मग हे कुणी ठरवलं तर इट इज ऑल्सो डेव्हलप विथ द पर्सन, विथ द people or developer you can say. And finally the test cases will have costing something. Yes, it will cost something because मी टेस्ट करणार आहे तर त्याच्यासाठी थोडेफार कॉस्टिंग मी एफर्ट करावंच लागणार आहे मला. तर त्या टेस्टिंग मध्ये मला बरेच पार्ट मला शो करावे लागतात की कंटेंट्स कुठे डिफाईन होतात, किती किती एरर येतात. तर हे जेव्हा मी टेस्ट केस आणि जेव्हा टेस्ट क्रायटेरिया म्हणते तर त्याच्यात चेंज काय होतो की या केसेस मध्ये होम रन टाइम आपण जेव्हा म्हणतो की टेस्ट केसेस मे हॅव अ गुड इट दे आर रिलिव्हिंग द प्रेझन्स ऑफ द फॉल्ट अँड ऑल्सो गेट हॅव अ सेंट्रल टू सक्सेसफुल टेस्टिंग. म्हणजे मधून जिथून तुम्ही टेस्ट केसेस सुरू करताय तिथून पर्यंत जो काही टेस्टिंग आहे पार्ट तो पूर्ण चेक केला जातो वन बाय वन. And for this reason I can say there is a fault. If there is a fault in the program can still provide the expected behavior of many inputs. लक्षात येते का बघा, if there is a fault in your program, the program can still provide the expected behavior for many inputs. Yeah. And only for the set of input that exercise the fault in the program will have the output of the program which will have an expected behavior. सपोज कधी कधी असा प्रोग्राम होतो आपल्याकडून आउटपुट एरर काही येत नाही पण आउटपुट पण काही येत नाही. मग या कंडिशन मध्ये काय होतं की कुठेतरी स्लाइटली आपला काहीतरी फॉल्ट असतो किंवा एरर असतो आपल्या कोडिंग मध्ये. अँड दॅट टाइम आय एम सेइंग दॅट इट इज शोइंग समथिंग फॉल्टी, बट आय एम सेइंग दॅट इट इज ऑल्सो अगेन नॉट शोइंग एनी एरर. सो फॉर दॅट पर्पज I will have to determine whether my test cases are successfully executed or not. And also it will implies that there are no error in the program. Yeah. And when I'm saying like this, if there is no any error, then I should get the proper output of my whatever the content I have given for testing. So each test cost, just I have given here that each test cost money. And efforts is needed to generate the test cases. Machine time is needed to execute the program for that test cases, and more efforts is needed to evaluate the results. So in order to test cases, I need all these things properly. Therefore, we would like to minimize the number of test cases. We have to minimize the number of test cases. For that purpose, I need to detect error. Means whatever, if I want to minimize the number of test cases, need to be I need to detect whether the errors should be less. Again, two fundamental goals I need to practically we are having. So first of all, maximize the number of errors detected and minimize the number of test cases. These are the two conditions. In test cases, if you want to get a proper result or a proper content, so I need to do two things. Whether I need to maximize the number of errors whatever I have detected, and otherwise I need to minimize the number of test cases. So these are the two main goals of your test case. And frequently it is a contradictory part. You can't make means if I am going to select the test case, a set of test cases with a program should be very much more complex. That time I need to make it more clear that I am going to face the problem or I am going to face problem in detecting the error. So it is a contradictory part. You can't assume that whether I have maximum number of errors I have detected, or I can't means minimize the number of test cases. If you want a proper because it is dependent on the teamwork. मीन्स जे काही मी टीम मध्ये डिवाइड केलेलं आहे, डेव्हलप केलेलं आहे किंवा डिफाईन केलेलं आहे की त्या माणसाने काय करायचं आहे. माझ्या प्रोजेक्ट ग्रुपमध्ये मी काहीतरी डिफाईन करून ठेवलेले आहेत की मला एवढे एवढे टेस्ट केसेस लागतील, तर त्याच्यापेक्षा मी कमी करू शकत नाही. आणि जर कमी केले तर मग त्यातला एरर कोण काढणार. So this is a possible, not a possible format, but it is a contradictory. So we need to go for it, or we need to look for it. Yeah. And again, if it is said that, means while selecting the test cases, the primary objective is to ensure that if there is an error or a fault in the program. Yeah. While selecting the test cases, the primary objective is to ensure that if there is any error or a fault in the program, it is exercised by one of the test case. Means whenever I'm saying it is tested, it should be ensured whether it is having an error or fault in the program or not. And when I'm saying it is ideal test case, means it is having no error in the program. And when I'm saying it is a possible ideal set, means it can include some of error in my program. तर याच्यात बरेचसे टेस्ट केसेस मध्ये पण प्रायमरी टेस्ट केसेस आपण कन्सिडर करू शकतो. आयडियल टेस्ट केस पण म्हणू शकतो की ज्याच्यात काहीच एरर नाही. आणि पॉसिबली अन आयडियल टेस्ट may have some error. Okay. And now the next part of it is की मी हे कसं सिलेक्ट करणार की कोणतं म्हणजे टेस्ट केस बरोबर आहे किंवा प्रॉपर आहे. ऑन विच बेसिस शुड आय कन्सिडर वेदर elements should be given in my test cases or not, which content should be included in my test cases. For that purpose, there is a selection criteria. Yes, suppose for a given program P and its specification is yes, a test selection criteria should specify the condition that it must be specified by the set of the test cases. Yes, how? I'm saying suppose there is a program P and its specifications are given. Yeah, and that program should have an access or should have some conditions. So how can I say that test selection criteria specifies the outcome or the condition should be satisfied by that test case? So criteria is nothing but it is just based on which test case I should select. Yeah. And it is depending on also on the specification given and on the set of test cases also. Means कोणतं टेस्ट केस माझं सॅटिस्फाईड करेल माझ्या प्रोग्रामला, इट इज ऑल्सो डिपेंडेंट. त्याच्यासाठी एक बेस्ट एक्झाम्पल आहे. आता लॉकडाऊन मुळे तर बरेच मीन्स आपण शॉपिंग करायचं बंद केलं. सो बट स्टील इफ यू आर गोइंग टू अ शॉप and then that time if he is showing something to us but आपल्याला पसंत पडत नाही लवकर, का म्हणतो की आवडत नाहीये किंवा काहीतरी आपल्याला काहीतरी त्यात फॉल्ट दिसत असतो. म्हणजे आपल्याला आवडत असतंय पण काय आपल्या मनाला ते अट्रॅक्ट करत नाही. तर सिमिलरली आपण काय करतो, बरेचशे व्हरायटी बघतो and at last one of that gets selected. Yeah, which we consider that सपोज कधी कधी आपण करतो की कलर तेच आहेत माझ्याकडे, सो आय डोंट वॉन्ट. मग काहीतरी नवीन कलर दाखवा किंवा त्या शेड मध्ये मला हे कलर दाखवा. म्हणजे आपली आपण जे काय एक्सपेक्टेशन करतो, आपला क्रायटेरिया आपण फिक्स केलेला असतो की मला असंच पाहिजे. सो ऍट दॅट टाइम क्रायटेरिया फिक्स केल्यानंतर आपण काय म्हणतो की हा बाबा की या फॉर्मॅट मध्येच मला माझा ड्रेस सिलेक्ट करायचा. अँड सिम्पल इट इज ऑल्सो विथ द टेस्ट केसेस. The people used to select the content on basic of its own specification and programming, because specification जर काय दिले असतील तर त्याच्यानुसार ते क्रायटेरिया काय करणार आहे, कुठला टेस्ट केस सॅटिस्फाईड करतो तो सिलेक्ट करणार आहे. तो सिमिलरली इथेही तसंच आहे की जो ज्याला सूट करतो तो क्रायटेरिया तो यूज करणार आणि सिलेक्ट करणार. येस, अँड सिम्पल दिस इज माय टेस्ट केसेस अँड टेस्ट क्रायटेरिया फॉर टेस्टिंग. I have these two. So, but there are two properties of my criteria. For testing a criteria, I have two properties, reliability and validity. या तो क्रायटेरिया इज रिलायबल कधी म्हणणार मी की इफ ऑल द सेट्स दॅट सॅटिस्फाईज इफ ऑल द सेट्स सॅटिस्फाईज द क्रायटेरिया डिटेक्टेड द सेम एरर. म्हणजे प्रत्येक क्रायटेरिया जे काय आता रिलायबल आहे मी कशावरून म्हणणार की विल सॅटिस्फाय द क्रायटेरियन detected the same error and it is insignificant which of the set satisfying the criteria is chosen. It is insignificant that sometime may have exactly the same error I can show, but sometime it may show one or two errors different. And a criteria is a valid if for any error in the program there is some set satisfying the criteria that will reveal the error. When I am saying valid, it is valid, that time it is an error in the program, there is some set satisfying the criteria that will reveal the error. So whenever I am saying it is revealing my error, that time I can say it is a valid. And fundamental theorem means for this testing is testing criteria should be valid and reliable. If it is satisfying the criteria, it will satisfy. If it is satisfying the criteria and the program containing the no error, that time I can say the criteria has chosen the best test cases which having a reliable formation as well as validation. For getting such reliable and validation, I need to go for some more condition. Means 90% accuracy is also good for my criteria to set a proper test case. ज्यावेळेस मी म्हणते की क्रायटेरियाने हे कसं काय चूज केलं किंवा कसं सांगितलं की it is a proper or it is handling a good formation or having a very successfully contained a no error in my program. So that time it is following some algorithm part. Yeah, my test cases and test criteria are following some algorithm which may have an exact existing part in my programmation or in my development I can say. So all the values, all the special values of the domain which are included may have something different, and also my criteria will have to choose something very much which is satisfying the criteria. But whenever I'm saying this criteria is getting satisfied with the test cases, means it is properly reliable with the validation. Yes, validity is also checked with it. And when we have something means criteria कसं आपण सेट करतो वगैरे, तर assume करा criteria includes something something means criteria C1 म्हणू आपण आणि criteria C2. मग प्रत्येक प्रोग्रामला एक स्पेसिफिकेशन असणार आहे and it having some test cases which will have to satisfy both. C1 also will have to satisfy C2. म्हणजे दोन क्रायटेरिया आहेत आणि माझे प्रोग्राम आणि स्पेसिफिकेशन बोथ शुड हॅव गेट सॅटिस्फाईड विथ C1 and C2. तर मग मी रिलेशन काय दाखवणार, दॅट इज C1 इज इक्वल टू C2. येस, C1 इज इक्वल टू C2 बिकॉज माझे प्रोग्राम आणि स्पेसिफिकेशन सेम आहेत. मग मला जे कन्सिडरेशन क्रायटेरिया जो सिलेक्ट केलेला आहे तर C1 C2 दोघंही सॅटिस्फाईड करतात. So unfortunately, suppose in the testing C1 may have better experience or may have a less error. So and C2 is having more error, but it is satisfying. So that time it is, we can't say that criteria is fulfilling all the conditions. So for that purpose, I need to do some testing. Generally, we have to go for testing, and when my testing will be get cleared, that time I know which criteria is suited best for my test case. Yeah, तर इथं पण ज्यावेळेस मी म्हणते की दोन कंडिशन्स आहेत, एकाच वेळी आपल्याला दोन काहीतरी आवडतं, पण ऍट अ टाइम आपण एकच काहीतरी घेऊ शकतो का, तर आपलं बजेट थोडस लो असतं. सपोज I visited a shop and I want to purchase a dress, but at that time I got fascinated over two dresses, but my whatever my property or criteria is, I have an amount, whichever amount I have with me is somewhat less. If I want to purchase both, I need to increase my criteria level. Yeah, So similarly, इथंही program specification define it. They are satisfying C1, C2. But I need to get definition whether should I purchase C1 or I should purchase C2. Because already I have a good amount so that I can purchase C1. मीन्स एक ड्रेस जो आहे माझ्या बजेटमध्ये आणि दुसरा आहे तो थोडासा त्याच्यापेक्षा जास्त आहे, तो बजेटच्या बाहेर आहे. तर मग याच्यात एरर कुठे नाहीये, C2 मध्ये एरर आहे, C1 मध्ये नाहीये. So I can go for C1. But after testing, means after seeing my criteria, I can say that my content level or whatever I am going to purchase is going to be satisfied with me. So this is my test cases I have defined with my test criteria. Yeah. And the last one is your psychology of the testing. On which psychology I used to make test cases more reliable. So on which psychology I used to say whether that purpose I have clear or not. Means psychology is different आहे की टेस्टिंग कधी करायची कधी नाही करायची. टेस्टिंग जेव्हा डिटेक्ट करते एरर, तर सपोज आय नीड टू गो विथ विच फॉर्मेशन, का मला सगळाच प्रोग्राम चेंज करायचा आहे का, तर हे सगळे कन्सेप्ट माझ्या माइंड मध्ये, म्हणजे माझी सायकोलॉजी आहे की इट इज डिझाईन बाय ह्युमन बीइंग whether it is tendency, whether which action should be performed on my program or on my development of my software, what content of testing I should get perform. Because असं नाही आहे की मी आता एक टेस्टिंग सांगितली की मला ही टेस्टिंग ब्लॅक बॉक्स टेस्टिंग करायची आहे त्याच्यावर, सो इट इज नॉट म्हणजे काही प्रॉब्लेम आले तर मला कळणार कसे, कारण मला काहीच दिसत नाही. येस, ब्लॅक बॉक्स टेस्टिंग मध्ये काय की तुम्ही काय पण इनपुट द्या, तुम्हाला काहीच दिसणार नाहीये, फक्त तुम्हाला आउटपुट दिसणार आहे, ब्लॅक बॉक्स आहे ना ते. But for that purpose, if I something tell that nahi, I should perform with unit testing. The psychology of testing is different with the mind. Yes, consider with the mind it is totally different. Ki, whether I need to go with this testing type or whether I need to go with other testing type. So testing fundamental मध्ये पण हा एक पार्ट ठेवलाय की what should we have and what content we need to go with it. Yeah. The proper intent of the testing is not a matter of, because test cases are also designed by human beings, and human beings have a tendency to perform action in order to achieve the goal they have in their mind. Yeah. And for that purpose, so if the goal is to demonstrate that the program works, may have consequently or subconsequently can select anything, and while selecting that they can demonstrate the goal, and while demonstrating the goal that will be the basic purpose of the testing. Yes, don't conditions set. When I'm saying test cases are already, you know that test cases are also made by the human being, and human beings have the tendency which can perform anything, means whatever they have in their mind they used to do in the similar way, and which will make our test cases may have a different form testing result can be achieved. For that purpose, my testing psychology is getting changed more and more. And if it is detected that that test case is good in our testing form, then that content are getting should be designed in such a way that the two good test cases should be evolved more. And I have one reason over there why psychology of the testing is made. So sometimes many organizations required a product, to be tested by the people which not involve developing the program. Means डेव्हलपमेंटच्या आधीच ते लोक टेस्टिंग कडे वळतात बरेच डेव्हलपर, की डेव्हलपमेंट कम्प्लीट होण्याच्या आधीच ते लोक म्हणतात की वन बाय वन वी विल स्टार्ट द टेस्टिंग, and so that whatever we are getting or facing the error, that will be resolved at that time only. But it is hard. डेव्हलपमेंटच्याच आधी तुम्ही टेस्टिंग करणार तर ते थोडंसं डिस्ट्रक्टिव्ह आहे, because whatever you are creating, you need to know whether that programs to be like having the same specification or requirement of the user or not. So it is not easy for someone to test his own program with a proper frame of mind. for the testing. And another reason is that is independent testing is sometimes error occur because the programmer did not understand the specification clearly. So this is one of the problem, and testing of the program by its programmer will not detect such error, where independent testing may succeed in finding the team. तो ज्या एरर जे तुम्हाला जर यूज करायचे आहेत किंवा जे ऑकर होत आहेत, तर हे एरर जे तुम्ही शो होत आहे, तर जर कुणाला माहित नाही तो प्रोग्राम कसा डिफाईन केलेला आहे, कसा हँडल करायचा आहे, so that time they will face error. But the programmer who had developed that software he is not finding any error. Yeah. So this is my psychology of my testing, which I am approaching with some different stages. And also, as the last stage of the testing, as evaluating the product, means last stage जो आहे testing चा, it directly will give you the product, and that time you can say that it is nothing but the user scenario is kept in the mind of the programmer or the project manager. या तर सायकोलॉजी ऑफ टेस्टिंग काय डील करतं की जे तुम्ही कंटेंट दिलेले आहेत, शो केलेले आहेत, जे आहेत तुमच्याकडे, सो इट इज डेफिनेटली इज हॅव्हिंग देअर ओन स्पेसिफिकेशन विथ देम, and it will have some different formation, and different contents can be defined with the different minds of the human being. So overall we had these testing fundamentals. So once again I will just repeat before going to the testing part. So next part या psychology testing चा आहे black box testing. Yeah, so black box testing I have just not we had before the black box testing we had testing process. Yeah, the testing processes we had we had gone through some testing fundamentals. First one was your error, fault and failure, why it is occurred, to which fault or to which error or to which failure I can say, or I can say that the testing fundamentals we need to happen over there. Next, test oracle, it is also one of the mechanism we are using for our development. Next was test cases and which type test criteria. So on basing of the criteria which getting satisfied, and after the criteria get scheduled, which type of test cases are getting satisfied, we need to choose. This we had seen, and with that we had gone through the criteria's goal, that is reliability and validity, on which it is based. And last part was your psychology of testing, on which mind we have to do the testing formation. So next part we had in our syllabus, that is testing process. So what is testing process? I have not clearly given here. So testing process is theoretically we had some levels. Means testing ची प्रोसेस पण कशी होते, कोणत्या कोणत्या फेज मधून जाते, तर इथे काही फेजेस मी दिलेले आहेत. बेसिक गोल ऑफ द सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट प्रोसेस इज टू प्रोड्यूस द सॉफ्टवेअर दॅट हॅज नो एरर और व्हेरी फ्यू एरर. बेसिक गोल काय आहे तुमच्या सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट प्रोसेसचा, की एक तर सॉफ्टवेअर असं बनवा की त्याच्यात एकही एरर नसू दे, किंवा असला तर खूप 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 कमी असू दे. तर या टेस्टिंग प्रोसेस मध्ये हे 5 टेस्टिंग प्रोसेसच्या लेवल्स आहेत, म्हणजे स्टेप्स आहेत. तो फर्स्ट वन इज अ लेवल ऑफ टेस्टिंग, सेकंड इज अ टेस्ट प्लॅन, hello, third one is test case specification, fourth one is test case execution and analysis, and last is the defect logging and tracking. So these all processes we need to go when I am going to process or by a testing. When I am going to perform a testing, that time I need to go with these steps. म्हणजे levels of testings I need to get defined. Again, test plan I need to define. Again, test case specification should I give. Then test case execution and analysis, how it is executed and how it is giving the analysis report, that should be defined again. And last part is the defect logging and tracking should be considered for testing process. Yeah. So while doing this testing process, I have some basic content which we had gone through. So testing process काय सांगतो तुमचं की या प्रोसेस मध्ये बेसिक रोल्स आहेत, बेसिक रोल पण आहेत की डेव्हलपमेंट ज्यावेळेस मी प्रोड्यूस झालेले असते तर आता सांगितलं की एरर तर नाही पाहिजे किंवा तुम्ही खूप एरर कमी द्या. And as testing is the last activity before the final software is delivered, it has an enormous responsibility of detecting and any type of error that may be in the software. Yeah, it is having a very much enormous responsibility. Again, whenever I'm saying a testing process is working with it, so it is validate that the changes has not affected some old functionality of the system. Yes, doing this testing process, I should get validate whether the changes should not affect my functions of my old system. It should have a regression testing should be done there. Regression is not that I can expect means accept the old test cases also. म्हणजे नवीन काहीतरी जनरेट टेस्ट केसेस जनरेट करण्यापेक्षा मी जुनेच यूज केले तरी चालतील असं त्याचं म्हणजे ऍक्च्युअली फॉर्मेशन आहे. And also whenever there is some testing content, if I'm saying some discussion over there, but testing is also having some limitations. The limitations कोणते कोणते की it may have some cost, more cost. सो ज्यावेळेस मी टेस्टिंग म्हणते तर त्यावेळेस मला एक चेक करावं लागते की त्याच्यावरती मला जास्तीत जास्त एफर्ट्स घेऊ लागू नयेत आणि त्याचबरोबर त्याची जी काही कॉस्ट असतील इट शुड बी इन बजेट. सो व्हेरियस फॉर्मेशन, व्हेरियस लेवल्स वी हॅड डिस्कस्ड हियर, but we need to know whether the contents are varying our our processing formations or not. So whenever I'm saying that my approach is going very much functionally, so that time it is called as a functionality testing. And when I'm saying that testing is going in an implementation formation, I called it as an implementation testing. So these approaches also there with our testing process. Most of the time testing levels are defined. So testing levels of testing are defined with various levels of SDLC also. Means SDLC is nothing but your software development life cycle. म्हणजे त्याच्यात जसं implementation testing, integration testing, unit testing, again maintenance testing. So similarly, तशाच testing चे formations आहेत. So testing process runs parallel to the software development. Yeah, and also it can testing can be separately done in order to make sure that there is no any hidden bug. Again, if there are any issues left with the software or so all these parts are related to your testing levels. So here we gone means we had received some testing levels also. Again, testing level of testing units, we called it as processes we had defined with it. So basic level of this is a unit testing. Level of testing मध्ये पहिले your integration testing. Then after integration unit testing मध्ये level of testing मध्ये जे आहे तुम्ही बघू शकता या टेस्टिंग मध्ये लेवल ऑफ टेस्टिंग मध्ये आपल्याला बरेच लेवल्स आहेत. म्हणजे आता मी इथे डायग्राम वगैरे हा कंटेंट आता संपणार नाही, त्याच्यामुळे मी फक्त बेसिक कंटेंट तुम्हाला शो करणार आहे की काय काय असतील. लेवल ऑफ टेस्टिंग मध्ये की पहिलं टेस्टिंग पार्ट आहे तुमचा युनिट टेस्टिंग. So first one by one we are going for my levels. So in unit testing काय की it will help the developer to decide that individual units of the programs are working as per the requirement. Yes, individual units of the programs are working as per the requirement and are error free and that time And when I'm saying that unit testing is happening, then one by one a unit code is going to be tested. The next level we used to go in the testing level is integration testing. Yeah. So integration testing काय की इथं मी बरेचसे units of softwares are working fine individually, okay, but there is a need to find out the units are integrated or not. The units wise जेव्हा checking होते, they then at last they are get integrated, म्हणजे काय एकत्र केलं जातं, and on that again the testing is performed. Yeah. So second level काय आहे तुमची integration testing. Now next testing is after integration testing we go for system testing. Yeah. First was your unit testing, second is your integration testing, then third we used to go with system testing. So system testing काय आहे की तुमची रिक्वायरमेंट, ओव्हरऑल रिक्वायरमेंट बघायचं काम आहे सिस्टम टेस्टिंगचं. तर सिस्टम टेस्टिंग काय करते, ती टेस्टिंग ऍक्च्युली 3 टेस्ट त्याच्यात इन्क्लूड आहेत अगेन सिस्टम टेस्टिंग मध्ये. तर सिस्टम चेक करते, काय चेक करते, functionally it is working properly or not, its performance and security and portability. Yes, are you getting my point? System testing is the third level of your level of testing, and in which I'm going to again use some testing formation. So system testing मध्ये 3 अजून टेस्टिंग केल्या जातात, टेस्ट केल्या जातात की whether it is working with functionally correctness, performing functionally all the functions properly or not, whether its performance is good or not, means whether it's efficiently working with your software. Yes. And last one I'm checking whether it's security and portability, whether it should be work on Windows, it should be work on Android. या तर हे प्लॅटफॉर्म आहेत, व्हेरियस प्लॅटफॉर्म वरती ते प्रॉपरली चेक होत, कंटेंट वर्क होतोय का नाही, म्हणजे वर्किंग प्रॉपरली होतोय का नाही हे चेक करण्यासाठी काम कुणाचं आहे, सिस्टम टेस्टिंग मध्ये. सिस्टम टेस्टिंग मध्ये हे 3 टेस्ट अजून केले जातात. नाउ द नेक्स्ट लेवल आफ्टर द सिस्टम टेस्टिंग इज ऍक्सेप्टन्स टेस्टिंग. आता ऍक्सेप्ट करायचंय ना जे काय टेस्टिंग केलेलं आहे, सो वेदर इट इज गिव्हिंग अ प्रॉपर ऍक्सेप्टन्स और नॉट, मीन्स वेदर द युजर इंटरॅक्शन response is getting clear or not, whether that contents are having the clear phase over clear interaction with me or not. So all these contents are given here in acceptance testing. Just like system testing, acceptance testing मध्ये पण अजून लेवल्स आहेत, alpha testing and beta testing. Yeah, alpha testing is using, means it is using the team of a developer themselves perform the alpha testing by using the system as it is being used in the work environment. जशी वर्किंग एन्व्हायरमेंट मध्ये जे यूज करणार आहेत त्याचं युजिंग किंवा त्याचं टेस्टिंग करणार आहेत, सिमिलरली ते अल्फा टेस्टिंग थ्रू तुम्ही करता. इट विल आस्क सम actions in the software and it will give response with some inputs. Yeah. So हे झालं तुमचं अल्फा टेस्टिंग. And beta testing is nothing, it is tested internally. It is not handed over to the user to use it under that production environment. Yeah. Whenever I'm using alpha testing, it is with me or it is with the team of the developer. But when I'm saying it is a beta testing, then it is given to the user for testing. Means काय म्हणतो आपण, whether it is properly working or not, to see, it is given like that. And after the acceptance testing, means after this level, I am going through regression testing. Yeah. So whenever a software product is updated with a new code and features and functionality, it is tested thoroughly to detect. It is thoroughly detected if there is any negative impact of the added code or not. So whenever I have something over there with me, means regression testing काय काम करतं, ते ओल्ड टेस्टिंग तसंच ठेवतं आणि त्याच्यात अजून मी काही नवीन टाकत असेल तर तेवढंच फक्त चेक करणार की त्याचा काही इम्पॅक्ट पडतोय का त्या प्रोग्रामिंग वरती माझ्या. सो ऑल दीज आर द 4 लेवल्स. सो फर्स्ट वन वॉज युअर युनिट टेस्टिंग. लेवल ऑफ टेस्टिंग मध्ये पहिली लेवल आहे युनिट टेस्टिंग, सेकंड लेवल आहे तुमची इंटिग्रेशन टेस्टिंग, द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ युनिट टेस्टिंग. युनिट टेस्टिंग मध्ये काय करतो, तो कोड चेक केला जातो. इंटिग्रेशन टेस्टिंग मध्ये तुमच्या तुम्ही जे काय आहे डिझायनिंग पार्ट किंवा तुमचं इंटिग्रेशन फॉर्मेशन केलं जातं. देन इन सिस्टम टेस्टिंग वी हॅड गॉन थ्रू 3 टेस्ट अगेन. त्याच्यातच 3 टेस्ट आहेत, functional performance and checking the security and portability, and last level was your acceptance, and after that was a regression testing. So acceptance testing मध्ये clients ला आपण डायरेक्ट इंटरॅक्ट करतो, तर त्याच्यात पण acceptance testing मध्ये 2 बघितले, अल्फा अँड बीटा. अल्फा विल डू विथ द टीम ऑफ द डेव्हलपर, but if I am using the beta testing, that time I am taking that content, means handovering that content to the user for the execution, for checking purpose. Yeah, so these are some levels of my testing I have just discussed with you. So second testing process मधला second step आहे test process, or testing process मधला second step आहे test plan. How I am planning that content, how I am saying that the test is accurately planned with, means how that specification are getting planned with it or not. So all these test plans are uh, done with some quality assurance or quality control properties. Yeah. So quality control properties are dealing with some content and having some assurance also. तर ज्यावेळेस मी म्हणते की टेस्ट प्लॅन केलेला आहे, तर टेस्ट प्लॅन काय करतं की इट ऑल्सो क्रिएट इट्स ओन समरी. It creates its own summary which shows me all the analysis of all the test reports and logs. Means when I'm saying that testing plan is going to be done, so all the it's collectively analysis and again summarization, again the reports, bugs, all are defined with it, and also they are launched with it. So whatever the software is released under the version control system, it is get ready with the launching property. And also I am saying that in the test plan, some quality assurance, some quality control, again audit, they all are planned with it. Because as testing is costing more, that time I need to have a planning for it, how much time I need to do the testing, how much time I need to make some assurance whether that product is working properly or not. So all this part is given with some quality assurance. Now the third one is the test case and specification. So test case specification will have a basic focus on how the testing of the project will proceed. It is not mandatory whether it is focusing properly with a goal or not, but we can say that it is properly focusing with the unit, and they can approach towards various tools also. So test case specification we have only just focus on how the testing should be get proceed. Yeah, this is my test cases, and majorly it having some major activities in the testing process. Means you can say that again high quality testing should be checked with specification given by the team leader or the team manager. Yeah, and the fourth one, that is test case execution and analysis. So similarly test case and analysis and execution is depend on some cycle. Means you can say that uh, it is a more what we can say की execution स्पेसिफाय करतं की तुमचं जे टेस्टिंग आहे प्रॉपरली झालंय का नाही, आणि त्या टेस्टिंग वरती अनालाइज करायचं म्हणल्यानंतर इट शुड बी शोर्ड बाय द ओनर और द युजर हुएवर गोइंग टू बी डील विथ इट. म्हणजे हे कधी मी बघणार टेस्ट केस एक्झिक्युशन अनालिसिस इज डन व्हेन आय एम गोइंग टू सेल दॅट प्रोडक्ट टू द customer or the client. Yeah, so at that time I'm not going to check whether that contents are properly defined with it or not, but I can say that suppose it is submitted employee and entry made by the we can say sorry example काय द्यायचं होतं याचं लक्षात येईना. की मी सपोज एक काहीतरी एंट्री केलेली आहे, एका रजिस्टर मध्ये मी एंट्री केलेली आहे आणि एंट्री केल्यानंतर ती एंट्री त्या रजिस्टर मधून नंतर कोणतरी जो कोणी इनपुट डेटा ऑपरेटर जो आहे ती एंट्री तिथून घेऊन त्या डेटाबेस मध्ये टाकणार आहे. मग त्याच्यात काही स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स वगैरे त्या डेटा जो काय आहे डेटा एंट्री जो ऑपरेटर आहे डेटा जो देणार आहे तर त्याच्याकडून होऊ शकते. मी लिहिलेलं आहे एक, पण त्याला जर माझी हँडरायटिंग नाही समजली तर त्याला जे समजते तो तसं लिहिणार. या अँड इट इज फिक्स्ड. डेटाबेस मध्ये काय होणार ते फिक्स होणार अँड देन इट इज क्लोज्ड. या इट इज क्लोज्ड. तर इथं काय झालं, मी एक काहीतरी सबमिट केलं. सबमिट झाल्यानंतर जो कोणी एंट्री घेणार होता त्यांनी ते फिक्स केलं डेटाबेस मध्ये. अँड वेन एव्हर आय एम सेइंग, सपोज कधी कधी असं होतं की आपण ज्या वेळेस एखादं ऍडमिशन घेतो, ऍडमिशन घेतल्यानंतर आपण तिथे नाव जे काय लिहिलेलं असतं तर ते नाव परत आपल्याकडे रोल कॉल चुकतात. जर प्रॉपर नाही लास्ट पर्यंत ते त्या माणसा म्हणजे जो कोणी स्टुडंट आहे त्याला सांगावं लागतं सारखं की दिस इज माय स्पेलिंग, दिस इज नॉट माय स्पेलिंग. सो एंट्री एकदा केलेली असते तर परत ती चेंज करायची त्याला वेळ लागतो. So similarly, test case execution and analysis is made at the last, at the finished part. So whenever I am saying that contents are getting executed, the test cases are getting executed, then it means I am following the execution in a specific manner, in a procedural manner, but its analysis is done after I am going to hand over that content to the user or a client. या तर याचं अनालिसिस कधी भेटतं मला, ज्यावेळेस मी ते युजर कडे देणार आहे त्यावेळेस मला काहीतरी त्यांच्याकडून रिप्लाय येतील की हे मला असं नको, हे असं पाहिजे वगैरे वगैरे. या सो दिस इज माय टेस्ट केस प्रोसेस आय एम गोइंग टू फॉलो. नाउ द लास्ट वन, that is defect logging and defect tracking, sorry, defect logging and tracking. So defect logging and tracking is having a part with what we have something in our product content, product content, whatever the defects we have. So defect arrival कसं होतं, जसं जसं आपला प्रोजेक्ट होत राहतो तर तसं तसं एरर थोडेसे डिफेक्ट्स थोडेसे वाढतात. या बट ऍट लास्ट असं नाही, काही एक रेंज येते की जिथे तुम्ही डिफेक्ट जी तुमची आहे जो पार्ट दाखवता तो म्हणजे काय की इट इज गेटिंग करेक्टेड फॉर्मेशन. म्हणजे ज्यावेळेस एखादा प्रोजेक्ट डेव्हलप होतो तर पहिल्या स्टेज मध्ये पहिल्या फेज मध्ये ऍट 1/3 लेवल इट इज गेटिंग ऍट अ प्रोसेस ऑफ तिथं डिफेक्ट लेवल तुमची थोडी जास्त असते. बट तो झाला तुमचा ट्रॅकिंग, म्हणजे ट्रॅक करताय तुम्ही. अँड म्हणजे ज्या वेळेस तुम्ही अॅक्युरेसी तुमच्याकडे येते की हा बाबा ह्या प्रोजेक्ट मध्ये मला हे असं फिक्स करायचंय, ऍट दॅट टाइम यू कॅन से दॅट की मी हे ट्रॅक केलेलं आहे आणि इथून पुढचा जो माझा ग्राफ किंवा माझं जे काय परफॉर्मन्स असेल तो रेट माझा कमी असणार आहे. जो परफॉर्मन्स गुड रेट आहे तो माझा हाय असणार आहे आणि लो रेट जो डिबगिंग वगैरे डिफेक्ट आहे तो कमी 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 होत जाणार आहे. At last, it is showing that you are reached to a 100% accuracy. So defect logging and tracking is also one of the part where you are going to be checked whether that contents are properly managed with that level, and if you are crossing that defecting level, means if you are having at a low risk point, then you can say that the tracking level I have checked and I'm going to fix it, and I have submitted the content and I'm working with a good performance rate. Yeah, so this is nothing but your testing process. We having a defect logging and tracking. So मग मी याला काय म्हणू शकते, so defect is not getting removed or in any extra efforts, but I can find the defect again. But defect found must be properly logged in a system and their closure should be tracked. Means defect कुठे आलेला आहे ते पण प्रॉपरली सिस्टम मध्ये कळलाही पाहिजे. So I need to have a defect logging and tracking should be considered as one of the best practice for managing your product. And also it is mostly handled in a software organization. In computer organization, it is wholesale followed. Means defecting, checking whether your errors are getting or corrected or not. So this is my track. डिफेक्ट जेव्हा भेटतं त्याच्यावरती मी जे काय करणार आहे ते ट्रॅक केलंय का नाही हे पण चेक करायचं काम माझ्या टेस्ट प्रोसेसमध्ये आहे, टेस्टिंग प्रोसेसमध्ये आहे. मग याच्यात ओपन अँड क्लोज जे आपण प्रिन्सिपल बघितलं होतं, मग सिम्पल आहे की तसंच आपल्याला काम करावं लागतं इथे. आणि त्याचबरोबर जर sometimes defects are categorized very few types and they are also get recorded with tracking. ज्यावेळेस आपण इन्स्टॉल करतो अँड्रॉइड ओएस, अँड्रॉइड सॉफ्टवेअर, तर अँड्रॉइड मध्ये असे काही डिफेक्ट्स आहेत की हे कशामुळे येतात हे तुम्हाला पण कळायला लागतं. तुम्ही ट्रॅक करू शकता लगेच. आता सपोज सी मध्ये पण, सी लँग्वेज मध्ये पण एखादा सेमिकोलॉन राहिला, ब्रेकिंग सिस्टम वगैरे, तुम्हाला एरर लगेच कळतो की कुठेतरी सेमिकोलॉन राहिलाय किंवा काहीतरी मेथड चुकली आहे त्याच्यामुळे तो एरर आहे. सो यू कॅन ट्रॅक दॅट. तर हेच काम आहे माझ्या टेस्टिंग प्रोसेसमध्ये पण. I should get defect log and I should keep tracking on it. Yeah. So this is my testing process having its own definition and its own properties. तो पहिले आपण बघितलं लेवल ऑफ टेस्टिंग. तर लेवल ऑफ टेस्टिंग मध्ये 4 टेस्टिंग ऍक्च्युअली मेन आहेत. युनिट टेस्टिंग, युअर एक्सेप्टन्स इंटिग्रेशन टेस्टिंग, देन युअर सिस्टम टेस्टिंग अँड लास्ट वन इज युअर एक्सेप्टन्स टेस्टिंग. तर हे 4 टेस्टिंग आपण बघितले. त्याच्यानंतर टेस्ट प्लॅन. तर मी प्लॅन म्हणजे कॅटेगरी कोणती प्लॅन करायची, किती माझं क्वालिटी अश्युरन्स पाहिजे, किती माझे क्वालिटी कंट्रोल पाहिजे, त्याच्यानंतर त्याच्यावर हाऊ मच आय शुड हॅव कंटेंट शुड बी विथ क्वालिटी मार्क. तर हे टेस्टिंग किंवा त्याच्यानंतर त्याच्यावर सॉफ्टवेअर ऑडिट इट शुड बी गिवन. So these all plans I need to maintain in my test plan. Then third one we had seen test case specification, which test cases specifications we need to have. And should be given in my test case we are developing a part, and that should be taken in considered. And after that I need to provide an analysis over that whether it is working properly or not by giving it to the client or third party for the checking. And last one was your test defect logging and tracking. So defect logging means whatever we had a defect in our program or in our execution of the software development, and we should know, we should get checked whether we had cleared with it. That is tracking should be made with it. म्हणजे जर काही डिफेक्ट आलेला आहे that should be get cleared with my tracking point. And sometime also whatever the defect we are facing, what is the reason behind that should be tracked. So this is all my testing process I have. Until and unless if anybody having doubt, you can ask me, or I will conclude the content today for today itself, and we'll go. This was my fundamental contents. The first one we had seen testing fundamentals, mean the introductory part, why the software testing we needed. Then second we had seen the testing fundamentals. In testing fundamentals we gone for with the 4 points, that is error, fault and failure, test oracle, test cases and test criteria which we had, and psychology of testing, and which mind, the human mind, how it will set the testing formation. And after that we gone through the second point, that is a testing process. In that we had seen the 5 steps of the testing processes, means the testing process is going through which stages. So first one was your level of testing, second was your test plan, how I'm going to plan the test, and the test case specification, what specification should be mandatory with while deciding with the test cases and providing the execution analysis over that test cases. And last one was your defect logging and tracking. Defecting means check just track the defect and just make it clear with your testing part. So all this content we had gone through. If anybody having a doubt, you can ask me, or shall I conclude? Anybody can reply me. If it is okay with the whatever the content I have discussed with you, if it is okay, I will stop here. If anybody having doubt, you can ask. Shall I conclude? Anybody can reply me. Shall I stop, or anybody wants more explanation regarding the same? Can reply. Okay, ठीक है. चलो, we will conclude the session right now. We'll go for attendance. So division A, be ready with the presenting. Just I will stop the recording. Thank you.